So much to come in the next 24 hours. Joel Sherman, our MLB Network insider and New York Post columnist, joining me now. Joel, and let me ask you this. The M's making a splash, of course, getting Luis Castillo. We'll start there first. Are they done or do they need more?
Well, I would assume they're not done. I don't think anybody who's a contender is done. You try to improve your team up until 6 p.m. tomorrow. The Mariners, obviously, the big storyline, haven't been to the playoffs the longest of any team in North America, the four North American team sport leagues since 2001. They've just lost a couple of position players, notably Julio Rodriguez. I'm sure they'd like to add to that. Nobody says no to a reliever at this time of year. I think that they're a brick on the gas pedal and go. They're among the most motivated teams for the obvious reasons to try to make the playoffs this year.
And your podcast partner, Jon Heyman, just reporting that the Angels are going to stay with Shohei Ohtani. It doesn't look like he is moving. Is that because it just would have been too much of a haul, Joel?
I just think he's a hard guy emotionally for the organization to move right now. They probably feel they could reconvene in the offseason. He's worth a lot of money to them off the field in sponsorship dollars. With Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon out, he's the saleable player on the team. I guess I can make the same point that because of that, because Rendon and Trout make so much money that it will be hard to have those two plus sign him, Ohtani, long term. And Ohtani is a free agent after next offseason. But he's a hard player for a general manager or an owner to trade. I think they've just decided to punt till the offseason. They know they could reconvene again in July next year if they're not a contender and try one more time. So I just think it was too tough emotionally and probably financially for them to make that decision right now.
It's my understanding, Joel, that the Nationals were going to make Juan Soto a final offer. If he decided to take it, obviously he stays with the Nats. If not, he's traded before the deadline. Where do you see him ending up?
Yeah, I think that they've set an incredibly high price, as they should. If you and I, Alanna, were making a decision, it's the 7th game of the World Series and won it back to decide a championship, who would we have take that at bat? I'm not sure it wouldn't be Juan Soto. He's in the small handful of people you'd want taking that at bat. And you have him for this year and 2 more. He's shown in the 2019 World Series that he can handle the pressure. By the way, I think he showed it in the Home Run Derby when he was clearly the focus of attention at the All-Star game, and he won the Home Run Derby, that he doesn't mind pressure. So they've set a high price. And, the sense of other teams involved is San Diego, St. Louis, and the Dodgers are as always lurking on these things. They are very deep in prospects. The question is, they've been very good about generally trading the Dodgers and not giving up the guys who make a difference for them, the Corey Seagers, the Walker Buehlers, the Julio Ariases, etc. They know that these would have to be difference-making players that go in the trade. Do they blink and put those guys in to form arguably the best top of the lineup, certainly in the game today and probably for a long time when you consider Freeman, Turner, and Betts too?
Joel, I think it's fair to say that the New York Yankees, the Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Dodgers, perhaps the New York Mets could possibly win a World Series right now without having to make any sort of move. But the Yankees did acquire right-handed reliever Scott Efros from the Cubs. What, if anything, does that do for them?
Yeah, I've believed for quite some time, Alanna, that the Yankees would get one from each bucket, a hitter. They've already done that, Andrew Benintendi, a reliever. They did that today with the sidewinder Scott Efros. And I think they'll get a starting pitcher before 6 p.m. tomorrow. They're very much interested in Frankie Montas, for example, from the Oakland A's. As far as Efros, they've lost 2 very, very important relievers over the course of this season in Chad Green and Michael King. Those guys have been kind of their Swiss Army knives, able to be used in any spot. Aroldis Chapman has pitched well recently, but he's been a roller coaster this year. So is Jonathan Loaisaga. By the way, Clay Holmes hasn't looked great for about the last 2-3 weeks. So this was an area they wanted to add more people, and they've added a guy who they have a lot of control over. He's not even arbitration eligible until after I believe the 2024 season.
Jacob deGrom coming back to the Mets, arguably the biggest signing of all. Joel, are the Mets the front runner in the National League now?
Well, I think the Dodgers would have something to say with that. And until we see a stake in the heart of the 4-time defending NL East champion, the Braves, and by the way, the defending World Series champions, that's a team that knows how to finish. They're very good. I think you made a point at the top of this where you were talking about the teams that, there's a bit of a crapshoot in the postseason. But the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Astros, the Braves, do you want to throw in Milwaukee and San Diego because of their top-line talent? It feels like there's a handful of teams that you believe are the key contenders for the championship. The Mets' chances to win, not just the NL East, but the whole thing, right? Their team was built around the idea of having Scherzer and DeGrom go round and round, especially in October. So if DeGrom comes back healthy and stays healthy, which has been an issue, remember, tomorrow is his first start since July 7th, 2021, they get what pretty much no one else is going to get, a clear, you could start him in game one of the playoffs. They might not have to because they have another game one starter. So it's such a big issue for them. And I think because of that, and because of how their farm system is set up, which with a lot of top-end talent but not a lot of depth, I think their key is get DeGrom back healthy and then just keep seeing if they could layer on more and more supplemental health. We saw a little of this with Tyler Naquin and Daniel Vogelback. Can they get a reliever or two? They certainly need that. And maybe a right-hand bat, someone like J.D. Martinez, if they deem him healthy. And the Red Sox are actually sellers, which is a bit of a flip of the coin right now. But I think that they might blink at the end and be a seller, at least of their free agents at the end of the season.
Heck of a 1-2 punch, and Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. Baseball is better when he is back and healthy. Joel Sherman, as always, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.